Hey, what's up, guys? This is Travis here with Big Boy Toy Reviews. Got another review here for you. This time I'm taking a look at Figma 248, which is Kirito from Sword Art Online 2. He was literally just released this week. I got him from Ami. As soon as they dropped him, they sent them off to me. So I wanted to hurry up and get this review out so we can have a quick look at them. Anyway, here's a look at the box. As you can see, Figma 248 has Kirito. GGO version, which is I can't remember. So what was it? Gun Gale Online, I think, maybe something like that. Of course, we got the official seal of approval there that's it's a genuine Figma here, and not really, but they got those little stickers on there. Sometimes they have those little reflector stickers. I guess that's what they put on this one. Here's the side of the box. Here's the back of the box. We got some product shots, and there he is with Sinon. Got some alternate faces there. Got a cool little effect piece there. That's nice. There's another product shot of them. We got the top of the box here, bottom of the box. So this is pretty much not only a review but an unboxing as well, because I have not looked at anything other than like briefly taking him out of the box and just kind of looking over what comes in the clamshell here. I haven't really even taken them out to pose them or anything. So this is kind of a completely raw review unboxing. And here's the front window of the box here. You can kind of see the two faces. I think there's the effect piece. You can see that the plastic, I still got the plastic that comes in the box on them. I think that is this little piece right here. I want to say that might be some hair. I can't really tell. And then we got his sword, because he always used the sword. Everybody thought it was weird, but he had a sword in that MMO that he was playing. And then I'm not quite sure what that piece is, but let's go ahead and get him out the box here and take a look at what he comes with inside the clamshell here. Alright, so here I got him out of the clamshell, or excuse me, not out of the clamshell, out of the box, in the clamshell, and we can kind of get a better look at what he comes with. We can get a clearer view of the two faces. That is indeed a hair piece. There's his gun. Still don't know what that is. And then we have some other sword effect pieces on the back. So then, of course, we have the typical Figma baggy, the directions and the hands and stand and everything that goes in there. But he looks pretty good just by kind of a blind look, without actually taking him out the box, or out this clamshell, I should say. So let's go ahead and get him out of this thing and take a look at the actual figure. Alright, so before we get to the actual figure himself, I wanted to go ahead and, as usual, show you the accessories that this figure comes with. It has, of course, a rack of hands, typical for Figma. It looks like we got some wide open hands there. 2 trigger finger hands. A wider, looks like maybe a kind of a wider gripping hand. And speaking of this one here, for gripping something, I don't really know yet. And we have 2 other gripping hands, probably for the sword. And of course we have an extra wrist peg, a little thing for the stand, and of course here we have the typical Figma base and stand. Figma baggie, of course. We have an extra hairpiece, which is looks like it's made to simulate maybe some action poses or kind of flowing in the wind, if I can get it to focus. Okay. So yep, that piece is done pretty well. So we got that. We have his gun that I just picked up off the floor. And that seems to be nicely sculpted. Got a little silver paint there. But other than that, it's just plain black plastic. But the sculpting and the lining and everything seems to be really nice. So we have the little effect piece that goes with the gun. We have this piece, which you can barely see because the background is white. But this piece, when I looked at the directions, and I'll actually go ahead and show you the directions here because they are actually somewhat relevant to figuring out what this piece does. As you can see, it shows you how to connect that effect piece to the gun, but then it shows you what this piece is. So it's obviously another piece that you can stick into a sword, and I'll show you the sword in a minute. But there's a little effect swooshy piece that I showed you when we were taking a look at the clamshell that connects to that, therefore simulating him swinging his sword, which is an interesting way of going about that. I'll show you the little swooshy effect piece here in a moment, and you'll see that it's actually really light in comparison to the very first Kirito that we got for Sword Art Online Part 1. Those were really heavy effect pieces, and I can see why they kind of went this way, or went this new way with this piece. So I'll show you how that actually goes on the sword here in a moment. But I just wanted to show you those directions because they are actually useful. Here's the sword. It's really nicely sculpted there on the handle. Nice paints. If I can get a good focus on it. My autofocus isn't working for some reason, so I gotta keep doing this. There we go. Gotta keep manually trying to get it to focus, but as you can see, my rusty hand, the sculpt is real nice there on the handle. Nice pink translucent blade, and according to the directions, this should just pop right out. And we'll go ahead and peg in this piece, which the directions had indicated that it was supposed to go a special way, and it does. It is, excuse me, it is keyed, so that works. And here is that effect piece that I showed you earlier with a nice kind of transparent pinkish grayish, like transitioning, like gray transitioning into pink, or pink transitioning into purplish pink. I don't really know what you call that color. Slides down in it like this, and there we go. And we have a swooshy kind of sword effect that, just by holding it in my hand like this, I can kind of feel like he could probably wield that without it feeling too heavy, or holding down the arms of the actual figure. So then we got the faces, and of course I'm going to do this floating head style, and we get a nice little close-up here on the default face. Nice purple little accents in the eye. All right. Then we have another face here with him looking off to the side and yelling. Also done really well. And then we have a somewhat confused, maybe concerned looking face. All right, and here we go with the star of the show, I guess you can say. The actual figure in its entirety. And it's done really nicely. It is a fantastic simulation of what Kirito's avatar looked like in Sword Art Online 2. I'm not really going to give up why he is looking like a girl. If you watch the anime, you know exactly why his avatar looks like a girl in comparison to his original avatars, or his first two avatars that were both boys, because in real life Kirito is a boy. But this is clearly built off of a female type body mold. I can really tell, because typically when I look at the shoulder joint, it's really thin, and it's kind of it kind of has a telescopic feel to it. Not really, but it kind of rolls over that joint like a lot of the female Figma characters do. So it's clearly made off of a female body, which would be accurate to the anime as well. But as far as everything else, the molding, the hair is done really nicely. This little chest plate here is sculpted and kind of I guess you can say kind of a soft plastic. Well, it is a soft plastic. It almost reminds me of how Saber 2.0 was made, with her chest popping up like that in order for her to get that big time ab crunch that she was getting to, which is typically hard for figures that have some kind of armor piece to get like an ab crunch like that. So they went on ahead and made that a soft piece, which was a good idea. Everything else here, this little piece on his shoulder is sculpted really nicely. Yeah, everything else, the wraps around his legs are all sculpted there. His belt, I don't remember what this little piece was there, but it's painted nicely. Nice little purple there. Belt sculpted nicely. It has a little hook on the belt, and I went on ahead and threw his guess you can say beam saber clip on there to show you that this can clip onto his side. And then he also has a holster for his gun in the back, so that's really cool. That can obviously come out. And as we look at the back, everything is sculpted really nicely on the back. As far as articulation is concerned, this hairpiece is on a single Figma ball joint, so that can go pretty high, get out the way. All this back hair above it is soft, so it won't hinder any of the articulation other than what the sculpt is doing. So typically they can look down really far, but not up so much. This is about as far up as you're going to get. Even if I move his hair up, he is going to only be able to look up about that far, and you can kind of see that joint in his neck. So I wouldn't advise doing that much. It doesn't have any articulation in the neck. So again, female body mold, they don't ever have extra cuts in the neck for more articulation. I don't know why. Maybe because the plastic is so thin here on the neck, so they just don't want to risk it breaking or having to put a too small of a ball joint or something in there. I'm not sure. But all of this coat here is a soft plastic, really soft, so it won't hinder any of the arm articulation. So like I said, there is kind of you can kind of move this joint up into the front to kind of get some up front sword poses, or you can just use it as a bicep swivel. Of course, we have a full 90 degrees on the elbow there. Wrist peg, wrist peg, and wrist and hinge for the hands. I was showing you earlier. The torso articulation is basically, you can look down in there. It's basically just a ball hinge. It looks like. No, actually, that's just kind of a peg that goes. That's a double ball peg, actually. It's a double ball peg. So you're going to get a good amount of ab crunch out of that. And you can go back a little bit. I wouldn't play with this too much. I wouldn't crunch him too much because you don't want this piece kind of just bowing out permanently. So these little coattails are on Figma, typical Figma joints here. So those can't move out the way for leg posing. As far as the legs are concerned, before I get to legs, I forgot he can get parallel or above with the with that shoulder joint. As far as the legs are concerned, you can go out about that far, which is a good. That's pretty good. Where they sculpted this strap right there, you have kind of a fucking thigh swivel there, but then there's also a cut here for the thigh, so it's kind of a double. Mine is a little stiff, but the thigh can move right there on that cut joint. Then we got way more than the right angle on the knee. Typical Figma knee joint there. It would have been nice that if they matched the gray a little bit better, but it's not that bad. As far as the ankles are concerned, typical Figma ankles, up, down, and you can get that toe in there if you want to for somewhat of a pivot, but not very much on the pivoting, and you can't really move that joint, so you kind of get an ankle tilt, but it's kind of it's a little wacky, and there's no toe articulation. So like I said, typical female Figma body, but it's a really good figure. Everything is molded perfectly. There's no smudges or smears as far as paint is concerned. And there's actually, looking at it, there's very little paint to be concerned with. I mean, even these lines here are all molded and they're painted nicely. Other than that, you got a little paint here on that belt, but most of this is all molded plastic. So you shouldn't really be getting any paint scratches or anything like that. Other than that, guys, I think that's pretty much it for the review. I definitely recommend the figure. If you're a fan of Sword Art Online, then it's a must-have, especially if you got Sinone earlier this year. Then this is the perfect companion for that figure, because obviously they were in the show together. So I definitely recommend getting them if you can. I picked them up at Ami. Like I said, they probably still have some left at this point. I did get an email saying Hobby Link Japan was ready for him to be released. I don't believe Big Bad Toy Store has quite got a release date on him yet. But like I said, you go to Big Bad Toy Store, you're going to pay more. Go to Ami or Hobby Link Japan, you're going to get, $20, $30 less to have to pay for the figure, and you'll pay like $10 in shipping. So I would suggest going to those places to get your Figmas. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for the review. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll have some pictures here at the end, posed with him by himself and some with Sinon. But other than that, stay safe, keep collecting, and peace out.